The QPR podcast is in association with 101greatgoals.com. For post-match Premier League press conferences, FIFA 15 videos, freestyle clips, and much more, subscribe to the YouTube channel at youtube.com/101greatgoalsyt.
QPR, QPR, Response Rangers are on the up and up. QPR, QPR, now we're heading for European Cup.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the QPR podcast. We're a bit more chipper this week, I should say. We're a bit more happier, less depressed. This will not be a razor blade edition. This will be a cheeky, cheerful, wonderful, full of hope, full of optimism, and back to normality next week, I presume. Anyway, I'm Paul Finney. I'm joined by Clive Whittingham from Lawful Words and sits near me in South Africa Road. Hello.
How are you, Paul? Hello.
Right. I was reading about your name the other day. It really is Dan, isn't it? They had a whole thing on names.
Oh, Clive?
Yeah, and I haven't introduced you yet. You're not here. Shh.
Oh, right, okay.
Shh. And there's not a lot of you, is there?
It was the least used baby name in the UK last year, I think 4.
Anyway, you keep it going. Whenever you have children, make sure you keep that name going, Clive.
Derek was second least used.
I'm not surprised. No offence, we'll call Derek, of course. It's a great name. I actually
started well.
I hate my name, Paul. I think it's ridiculous anyway. And of course, the one and only Mr. Mendes, who was working on the... you've been working on the elections, haven't you?
I was working on the TV debate last week, yeah. Something a bit different. I've just noticed that our microphones are both matching our tops tonight. All three of us.
It's beautiful, isn't
beautiful,
it?
Isn't it?
It's the thing of beauty.
It is actually completely in sequence, isn't it? It's a bit scary. Although yours now you what? Like we'll talk about we're going to go into an interview with the one and only Clint Hill in a wee second, but we'll quickly talk about the last two games, which have been very, very, very different and exciting and wonderful for various different reasons. But we were obviously at Villa Park last night, but you watched it on a Portuguese stream, didn't you?
Not on a stream, on Portuguese channel. So on TV, Benfica TV, they have all the rights for the Premier League games and they were showing it last night.
Oh, so if you would live this company and subscribe to it, you get it for free then?
Yeah.
Basically. Oh, okay, yeah. Crack on. And how was it in Portuguese?
It was interesting, yeah. For some reason they refer to QPR as QPR.
I quite like that.
Yeah.
Why isn't it odd that everybody else in the world can watch our match live apart from the people in this country last night?
I know. It's a power
that's what a $6 billion television deal gets you. Absolutely nothing.
The power of Murdoch. So, and how did you find it watching it on TV?
Well, two completely different halves. In the first half, I had I didn't expect us to get back into it at all. We needed to change things. I thought we were actually a bit lucky to go in just one goal down at half time. We were just so wide open, and going forward, I thought we missed Vargas. We didn't have any pace really out wide. Cranchar, I know people have saying he doesn't seem interested. I just think he was a bit too slow. He was obviously. He lost the ball up near the top when they scored their second goal, and I'm surprised he didn't come off at half time. But second half, so much better.
And Clive, should we do Saturday as well? We must talk about Saturday.
Well, yeah, it's a shame.
On the Villa game, I think you called it dead right. I thought we were lucky to only be 2-1 down at half time, and I think we got the team selection wrong, and that's easy to say now. The Cranchar thing. On the left, he's not a left winger. He's not particularly defensive, and they obviously picked on that. But if we want to be positive, he let them go out for 5 minutes in the second half. Made whatever injury concerns they had, made sure that they were either coming off or staying on, and then made 2 changes that absolutely changed the game in our favour. And Tim Sherwood talking about if it was a boxing match, it would have been off at half time and all of this. Maybe Tim Sherwood should have been more bothered about changing his team accordingly, because he got absolutely outdone by Ramsey in the second half last night. Carl Henry he did 2 things when he came on. He stopped the second balls dropping on the edge of our box, and he also stopped Sanchez picking the passes from the base of their midfield. Going to 3 centre-backs meant they weren't winning so many headers. You struggle to see 2 more game-changing, better substitutions like that right at the start of the half. And Villa weren't even slow to react to it. They just didn't react to it. And in the end, it was only because they had Benteke that we didn't win the game.
Which was strange, because I actually thought we completely overpowered them at times last night. The only thing I felt were a wee bit weak again in the flanks, where they kept coming down at us all the time. And but it's just you're going to get there. The home side is a big pitch. We're going to struggle a wee bit. But I actually felt that when they got that free kick, we all knew it was going to happen, didn't we? It was one of them, you just knew that was going to go in.
And Sherwood after the game was like, it was a one-sided game. We deserved to win, but he was relieved when that free kick went in because he knew he needed something like that. Because
I think Sherwood made a mess of that game for them last night. He was too busy berating the referee and thinking how great they were in the first half to react to what Ramsey had done. It took him half an hour to make a substitution after Ramsey's. Ramsey outdid him last night, and Sherwood is lucky that he has a player like Benteke that got him out of jail there. His finish for the second Villa goal was so cool, and the free kick was undefendable. I mean, you can talk about how we gave it away, cool, because header wasn't particularly good and whatever, but it was too high for the wall to jump, and too well placed for Green. So it was an undefendable free kick.
Yeah.
And Benteke was monstrous last night.
Yeah. And I think someone, Adrian Durham on TalkSport was saying, the wall should have jumped, it would have prevented it. And Joe Botton straight back just said, Rob Green tells us not to jump when it's that close. Even if they had, I don't know if it would have blocked it, but there's no way any keeper would have got to that.
No, I don't think that even if the wall had jumped, it only would have, flicked it on. It was such a well placed free. It was an undefendable free. It was he carried his team last night. Benteke. He's the reason that Villa haven't gone down previously, and is maybe going to be the reason they don't go down again. He's just a fantastic player. So, Sherwood can talk about how brilliant he is, and all the wonderful things he does. But at the end of the day, the reason Villa, if they do survive, is because they've got that guy up front, because the rest of the team is bang average.
What surprises me, well, that surprised me now. There was all this talk about whether we should get Sherwood or Ramsey at the time. I don't care. Well, I do care, obviously, I want us to stay up, but I think looking back on it, I don't think I would want Sherwood at the football club anyway.
We wouldn't have more points now.
He's not very, I don't like him. I'll be honest with you. I just don't like is that he's way too cocky for someone who's still trying to learn his trade and stuff like that there. And I think we dodged the right bullet there, I'll tell you. I think Ramsey will get better, funny enough. And I think whatever happens this season, the club should hopefully stand by him in some way or another. Either whatever happens, if we get relegated and they decide to replace him, that he stays at the club. Because last night he did come out on his own and he did prove himself a wee bit. I think that them substitutions were brilliant. And as you say, Villa didn't know what to do. Ramsey's
doing the best with what he was left, I think.
Yeah,
and I don't see that we'd be doing a great deal better if we'd appointed somebody else. And to get, as I've said before, and it seems a strange thing to say, and I felt it again last night watching Sherwood prance up and down the line, running out of the technical area to intimidate the linesman, running on the pitch at one stage to get the ball back and whatever. And people talk about, it's great to see his passion and whatever. I wouldn't want that guy representing our football club. We've had enough jokers pretending to represent our football club. As the manager.
I think it's more him just playing up to the cameras or just having to be centre of attention.
It's all about him. It's all about him. But I don't want to labour the point because we've had 2 fantastic performances in 4 days, so we should be talking about that. But I just wouldn't want him off. It's all about him. When he loses, it's his player's fault, and when he wins, it's all about him.
I'm surprised he didn't take credit for Jesus' resurrection over the weekend.
Well, I'm waiting to hear about how he discovered Christian Benteke and made him the player he is today. I don't think it'll be long before we get that story.
I'll tell you what was funny as well. Our ex-manager was on the radio over the weekend. I don't know if you heard it.
Well, he was on BT Sport as well at the weekend, standing up and without aid of crutch or anything, standing there for 2 hours. Get that knee operation that he hasn't actually had has done wonders for him.
That's brilliant. He was the first question was, how did your knee operation go? Yeah, I went to Bournemouth. I'm not going to try and do an accent because I can't.
You were going to try that.
I was. I forgot I had a microphone near me. And he was like, I've been to Bournemouth. I've been to Dubai to play golf, and basically I haven't had surgery. I completely and utterly made it up. And there was no problem with the knee. It might be slightly old age probably, and I don't think there is a problem with it. And that's what's disappointing me, how that whole thing was played out, because don't take fans for mugs. That annoys me.
Yeah, again though, 2 great performances that we didn't see coming. Great results, 4 points, 7 goals, which is 1 more goal than we scored in all of Harry Redknapp's away games this season in a weekend.
Yeah.
Just as we thought the coffin lid was nailed shut by Everton, we're sort of knocking on the door again.
I think it's time we actually give Clint Hill a ring. What do you reckon?
I agree.
Let's do this.
Hi Clint, how you doing?
I'm very well. How yourself?
Yeah, good, thank you. I just wonder, when your goal that you scored against Bolton back in 2012, when that was missed by the officials wrongly, did you expect to?
You mean Mr. Magoo?
Did you think that was your chance gone for scoring a Premier League goal?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was just the importance of the game overall was the main factor in my disappointment. So we went on to lose 2-1, and maybe if that goal was allowed, the whole game and the whole situation of the season would have changed as well. I think going into the last game, we might have not needed that point or that win that we did need, if you know what I mean, just by that goal being disallowed. But yeah, I mean, I'm not getting younger. I'm not spring chicken anymore. And obviously, when we got relegated, you do think, will you ever get back into the Premier League and have another go again? So I'm just glad that it did come last night, to be honest with you.
We've picked up 7 points away from home after going so long without a single one. What's changed?
I really don't know. I mean, it wasn't for a lack of effort or trying. It was just. I just don't know. I think we probably simplified our game since Chris has come in. He's not tried to bamboozle us with any kind of mad kind of formations or tactics or any kind of style of play. He basically just wants us to go out there and give 100%, and just show the desire that the fans and the club deserve. And he believes that if we do that, then the quality we do have in the team will shine through. And thankfully, over the last few away games, that's come to fruition.
Last night's game was pretty crazy. It must have been really entertaining for neutrals, but it was kind of unbearable in a certain way for QPR fans.
It must have been a typical QPR game, wasn't it? Just to and fro.
What was the mood like in the dressing room afterwards? Was it more disappointment or?
Yeah, it was actually. It was disappointment. It was disappointment because obviously, kind of with the first half, we didn't really get into the game at all. Their kind of formation kind of bamboozled us. I think they played a diamond and got the fullbacks bombing on, and we were kind of stuck in between. Do we press? Do we hold? And I think we got into half time and we had a really good chat with ourselves. We thought we didn't do ourselves justice, and we don't want to go out with a whimper. And thankfully, we came out second half. We went to a back three, put an extra man in midfield, which kind of neutralised them, and should have gone on to win the game, to be honest with you.
Hello, sorry, Clint. Going back to Saturday's game, has a certain Mr. Samora talked a wee bit about that special goal on Saturday, or has he just been said nothing? He's been nonplussed about it, or has he actually bigged himself up big time?
Well, listen, I don't think he scores simple goals, does he? To be honest with you. I think he'd love a few tap-ins, but every kind of goal he seems to score is an absolute worldie. Going back to the playoff final and then the goal at Sunderland, and then the goal at West Brom as well. He just seems to be a goal scorer of spectacular finishes. You could do with a few more of them, to be honest with you.
But to be fair, though, I know we're all biased, let's face it, but I still think it was the best goal of the weekend. I don't care what anyone says. It was, for sheer technique and position and place and skill, it was by far the best goal. Your man scoring against Emlod from 65 yards, Bobby could do that to sleep.
Yeah, listen, obviously, I think Charlie Adams' goal kind of took the shine off Bobby's, but I think if you look at the way you spoke about it there, he's on the run as well. He's full pace. He's at the difficult angle, and he's got a defender right on his back. And to put it in the way he has with the outside of his left foot and the way it went in off the bar was a fantastic finish. So, yeah, he's got to be right up there.
Clint, we asked for fans to tweet their questions in to us this afternoon. We had this one from Freddie M on Twitter, who says, how does the dressing room now compare to roughly the four other sides you've been involved with here? He asks, is there the spirit to get out of this? And we hear a lot about the team spirit and whatever from the club, but there's a sort of element of they've got to say that, haven't they, to it? But tell us, you said they were disappointed last night, but what is the spirit in there at the moment?
Obviously, last time was it's been well documented, and it wasn't a great place to be. I don't think we got on at all and as a team, as a unit. I think a lot of people have got to take responsibility for that. But this time round, I think we've kind of kept the nucleus of a team that came up from the Championship, which was battled really hard to get up. And once you go through that kind of emotion and togetherness, then that sticks with you for the next season, and there's a bond there, and we try to keep that. And believe me, obviously you read bits and bobs and papers and what fans say that I don't think they care and I don't think they want it enough, but we do, we really do. We want to stay up. We don't want to go through the championship again. And we are fighting for every ball at the moment, and hopefully we can get out of the position we are at the moment.
Kevin McSweeney also asks us, given that you've seen so many things that have happened at the club, probably beaten only by Ali falling, probably. What's the one thing that's left you gobsmacked or most surprised during your time at QPR?
At QPR, gobsmacked. It's been an unbelievable journey, to be honest with you. I think it's 5 years. And I think I've had every emotion possible, to be honest with you. Obviously it's a lot of good and a bit of bad, but it's quite hard to put down to one thing, to be honest with you.
Fair
but obviously the relegations here. They're the ones that stand out, the relegations, but I'd like to think we've had a lot of positives as well. The last day staying up at Man City was unbelievable. And obviously the two promotions we've had as well, and obviously give us something to smile about.
Yeah, talk to me the difference in attitude to the away games now as opposed to the start of the season. It seems like we really just go and have a go away from home now. Is that a conscious difference that you feel from the start of the season? You mentioned you're obviously. Nobody can question that you're trying or whatever, but it felt like maybe it came from the manager or whatever at the start of the season that we were maybe just treating the away games like, well, we don't have much of a chance here, whereas now we seem to really be going for it, and even if the result doesn't quite go our way, it feels a lot better. Is that a fair comment?
Yeah, I think. Going back to the beginning of the season, we were kind of trying to stick to this kind of formation of 5-3-2, and I don't think that the lads or the staff really bought into that, it was quite a difficult formation to nail down. And some of the teams we did play early in the season away from home were top quality teams, And I just think just stripping it back and just going back to basics and, just a straight 4-4-2 where most of us have played most of our careers. And just going back to simple basic football, Obviously it might not be pretty at times, but it kind of lets everybody know where they are and what to do and what positions to be in. And hopefully that just gives you the confidence like we did. You've got to get that first win, and as soon as that first win comes, then obviously you get a bit more confident on the road as well. So, I'm pleased that's picked up. We just need to try and sort out our home form at the moment as well. That's another thing.
Perfect time to do that against Chelsea. Clint,
yeah.
Joey and...
Please don't spoil the podcast. You're not allowed.
Joey and Nedum have both come out in recent weeks and said that it's a minor miracle that we're still in with a chance of survival because of certain things that happened at the start of the season. Is that just down to the pre-season? Or?
Yeah. There's a lot of things that obviously... happen behind the scenes that people don't see and preparations and stuff like that, and I'll agree with what they say. I don't think it was the right kind of test that we needed throughout the pre-season. Some of the games we played were very poor, no disrespect to the teams we played, and I don't think we worked intensively enough to prepare for a Premier League season, and that can take you into a poor start to the season, which we had. But to be in with a shout now after all the difficulties we've gone through. It's credit to the boys, and hopefully we dragged a few more teams into it last night with a point and 3 points at West Brom, and just hopefully we can kick on now.
Clint, one more from the Twitter before I leave it alone. Roger Newman and Heshan and a couple of people have asked. The story goes around about the playoffs last year, both the semi-final against Wigan and the final against Derby, that you almost put your hand up to be substituted, and you almost made the substitution yourself from being on the pitch. Do you want to sort of clear up once and for all who actually decided in the semi-final and the final that it was you going off and that was the change that was going to be made, and how much influence did you have on that?
I mean, I'll stand up and say that. I mean, I did make that decision that I thought at the time, and obviously being on the pitch and the way the game was going, especially at Wigan at home, there was space to be attacked down the left side. I don't think Wigan were particularly strong down that side. I think McManaman wasn't tracking back, and it was just a little thing that I picked up during the game, and we had a chat at half time with the staff, and they said, right, we'll give it 5-10 minutes, see how it goes, and it was still going the same way, and we just made that decision straight there and then, and thankfully the rest is history, to be honest with you. For the semi-final, going to the final was obviously going down to 10 men. It was difficult, and I think the staff were umming and ahhing who to take off. I mean, you can't take Charlie off because he's our top goal scorer. You can't take Bobby off because he's the one who's going to hold the ball up for us. And I just went over to them and said, "Listen, I mean, just stick our man left back. Let's try and keep all the goal scorers on the pitch, really, and hopefully something might bounce for us off a deflection or a corner or whatever, and we might nick a win." So it was kind of a joint decision, and thankfully that one's history as well now, to be honest with you.
Clint, you're making a very early claim into management.
I'm not going to lie to you. It's something I want to do. I mean, I'm well ahead of what I want to be. I mean, I'm doing the A licence now. That should be completed in a few weeks, and I study every time. You know, I love the game. I'm a student of the game. I always look at things. Always study the managers that we come up against and the formations, and it's something that does interest me. And who knows, one day that it might come. The management job might come somewhere, hopefully.
Well, I said on Twitter today that you should never be allowed to leave Queen's Park Rangers. There's certain people that come along to our club, and they don't make any difference. You have made a hell of a difference to our football club, and I think you get it. I mean, I don't think I need to tell you as a QPR fan what Sunday means to us. And talking about Sunday, I mean, everyone's written us off. But you know what? I really fancy us. Am I deluded? Am I mad? But I really do think we can turn them over.
I fancy ourselves. I really do. I think with us getting 4 points from the 6, you know, I think that's made people stand up. Obviously, teams have got games in hand, but I mean, you'd rather have the points on the board than play extra games, to be honest with you. And I do fancy us. I think we've got that belief now, and I think hopefully we've got Dunny coming back, and I think Leroy might be coming back as well. Obviously, Young as well, coming back from his concussion. So I think the teams is coming back and into fitness as well, which is good for us. And yeah, I just want obviously Sunday's game, everybody expects Chelsea to win it and steamroll us, but I mean, we were there a few years ago, and if we can just rectify that same kind of atmosphere and cauldron of fire and hate to a certain degree,
absolutely,
that fans give Chelsea fans. If we can just try and get anything near that, then you know what I mean. We've seen what happened that day. We pulled off an absolute miracle, and I'm sure we can do it again with that same support.
What was it actually like? Are them? I know players say they treat every game the same, but are them games different for the players? Is there a much bigger edge to it? Is there anyone? Are you looking at everyone saying, "Don't be friendly. Let's make this personal. Let's get out there and do it"? Is it completely different?
I think that was obviously the first. Obviously, you have London derbies because you have so many clubs in London. But I mean, that game for me, I think I came back from obviously being on loan at Forest and straight into it. I think as soon as that whistle went, you knew how much it meant to people. You know what I mean? You just couldn't help but sense the passion and the desire coming from the stands. And as soon as you hear that as a player, you think, Jesus, this means a lot to people. You know what I mean? We better put this right in here. And thankfully, I think a few of them lost their heads as well. Chelsea players. I don't think they expected that kind of noise and hatred, and I think it affected them as well. So hopefully we can try and rectify something like that where it raises us and it affects them, and you just never know what might happen.
Clint, I don't want to put you on the spot or whatever, but it'll be sorted out at the end of the season, and it might depend on what division we're in and things. But where do you see yourself going forward? Because you're obviously not a London lad, but you seem to have really connected with.
Now.
You seem to really have connected with QPR since you've got here, and you've spoken about your ambition to coach, and we actually now seem to be employing some coaches and that care about QPR and things like that. So do you see yourself going away and playing for a couple of years somewhere else and coming back, or is it coaching from this summer, or where do you go from here? So,
oh man, I really don't know. It's been like this for a few years, to be honest. Where they were, obviously, you get to a certain age and you only get year contracts, which is fair enough, but it goes right the way through to June, July, where you really don't quite know where you're going to be and what's going to be sorted out. And I really don't know. I'll be honest with you, like I have throughout my time here. I really don't know what's going to happen. I've made my feelings known that I'd love to stay here in some capacity. If that's on the coaching side, then that'll be a dream for me. But at the end of the day, it's up to the people in charge. You know, if they feel and believe in me that I can bring something to the club, then fantastic, and then that's what I want to do. If they want to go a different way and a different route, then no problems at all. I mean, I'll shake everybody's hand and leave with my head held high. You know, it's been a fantastic 5 years, and wish the club well, and hopefully leave them in a better position than when we first turned up here.
Well, if we can bring any influence to bear, we hope that you're not shaking anybody's hand and going anywhere in the summer. Do you look at?
He's not going anywhere. He's staying.
You know, we know you're good friends with Sean Derry, and obviously, I mean, he said himself he sort of let his heart rule his head in taking the Notts County job when he did, and I think personally, it's been very harshly done to at Notts County.
Yeah.
Do you look at that, and does it sort of affect your thinking that, you know, about taking a manager's job too soon, or how you're going to progress your coaching career? Do you look at what's happened to him?
I mean, I was speaking to Dave last week, went for dinner last week, and it was good for me just to obviously feed off him and the trials and tribulations he's been through the last 18 months. It opens your eyes to actually what happens behind the scenes and the kind of firefighting that he had to do off the pitch, never mind trying to get his team organised. It's a difficult job, it really is, and no matter what league you're in or what status you are as a manager, I think you've got 10 games. If you don't win anything in 10 games, or you're struggling for 10 games, then the likelihood is you're out of a job. And that's how cutthroat it is at the moment. So it's a difficult decision, to be honest with you. I mean, do you just sit back and take the coaching role and try and get a bit more security and learn your trade and work your way up the system and do it that way, or do you just jump straight in? I suppose it comes down to what kind of job comes up, and if it's the right kind of job with the right structure, only time will tell. Only time will tell.
Completely irrelevant, because QPR is no way letting you go. You're here. You've come.
I'd love to.
No, you've got
to stay, man. It's a great club. It really is, and you know, I mean, they've been so good to me on and off the pitch. You know, my son's a QPR fan now as well. I can't
dear.
get a Liverpool top on him for nothing.
Oh dear, there's no escape for that poor boy.
To be fair, I'm not a Londoner either, nor is Clive, so you don't have to be a Londoner again. But you do get QPR. I think you're one of the few, you know, I keep saying this, but it's so refreshing to see someone like yourself come into Rangers and get it. You know, I mean, we can tell that even last night when you scored that wonderful Ronaldo-like header. You know, absolutely superb. How much it meant to you, and you know, we can't thank you enough for what you've done for QPR. People like you have made such a difference, and we really do appreciate what you've done for our football club. And you really have.
Seriously, the appreciation's on mine. You know, it was an honour to come here, and God, the things that I've achieved here are unbelievable. Got to go right up there with everything I've done in my career. You know, two promotions and a couple of Player of the Years as well. It's been brilliant, and I just want this season to finish well and for us to really focus and push on. Hopefully next year, if we do survive, you know, that's the big thing now for me.
And congratulations on your second Premier League goal.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
As I mentioned earlier on, if it hadn't been for Mr. Magoo and the double linesman,
I can't believe it.
that was shocking, though. I mean, that ball was so far over the line, it was practically in Manchester. I mean, honest to God. But
It was unbelievable. It really was. I mean, to be fair, I've said it before. I don't know how the keeper managed to get it out from how far back it was. It was an outstanding bit of goalkeeping, to be fair. But yeah, thankfully they went down and we stayed up.
do you think the refs actually know when they've made a clanger like that? Do you think? And you're kind of looking at them and you think, please change your mind because you're going to look so stupid on TV.
I think deep down we do. I think we do. And obviously they can't change the goal situation, but they might give you the odd free kick here and there out of feeling bad for you or something like that. And but I do think they do feel they know when they've made a bad decision.
Yeah, he certainly didn't that day because we should have had a penalty in injury time as well. But
yeah,
what I wanted to ask you before we let you go is you played as a young player at Wembley for Tranmere in a cup final and got sent off, and obviously in May, Bobby and everybody else and yourself meant that you could go back up the steps. So I wonder how basically your whole career has taken place between those two events. So, what was your feeling first time around with a red card? Did you obviously feel you're never going to go back there, and then how did it feel in May to actually get back there and do that?
It was, I mean, going back my first time, I was a young lad, and I mean, I don't mind saying now, I was a loose cannon back in the day, and I don't know why I was full of anger and just wanted to win everything and tackle everything, and for whatever reason, but managed to get the red card at Wembley, which absolutely devastating. The whole family are there, and you feel like you've let the whole club down. And I think the thing that hurt me most was you couldn't even walk up the steps because you were sat in the change rooms. You weren't allowed to get involved in that. And it was a very dark time for me. I went away for a week, really, really thinking about, is this for me? Can I trust myself in these kind of environments and situations? I don't want to let my people down again. And I really did think about quitting, to be honest with you. But thankfully the family stuck by me, and John Aldridge as well, the manager, was fantastic for me. He understood what kind of character I was, and he stood by me, give me more chances than probably people should have done, to be honest. And then going to Wembley for the second time was I was very, very nervous, and because I didn't really enjoy the game because I just felt the weight of the shoulders of the whole club and what it meant to people and what might happen if you don't go up. There's all these little things that go through your head, and you just want to win no matter how ugly it is. You just want to win somehow, and thankfully we did do it. And to get the chance to walk up them steps and lift the trophy at Wembley just kind of put all the demons to rest for me, and seeing my dad there as well was a very proud moment for me. Getting kind of emotional now thinking about it, to be honest. It was one of them days.
I was quite emotional afterwards as well, I can tell you.
It was.
That was more to do with cider, I believe. Clint, I will let you have your evening back, and thank you so much. It's one of the best interviews we've ever done on this podcast, and I mean that honestly. And I'll tell you what.
Oh no, thank you.
And if QPR will never let you go, the fans will never let you go. You're here for life, pal. And
no, I appreciate that.
And on Sunday, all I ask is that, and I know you will, you guys will give it your all. That's all we can ask. We're not expected to win, but if we do, you'll never be wanting for a pint in Shepherd's Bush ever again. I can freaking tell you,
Oh, it'll be a great few days if we do do it, believe me.
Oh, man.
I might go missing for another few days.
I'm coming with you, I tell you. But listen,
yeah, that's no problem.
Good man,
No
listen.
problem.
Thanks very much, big man, and good luck Sunday. Wishing you everything and all the best, and enjoy the game. And thanks for all you've done again. We do appreciate it. Good luck, Clint.
Cheers, Clint. Thank you very much, man. Much appreciated, and thanks for letting me come on. And good luck to yourselves, and speak to you soon.
Good man. See you soon, fella. Cheers mate. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Right, everyone in the podcast, you've heard it here first. If we beat Chelsea, me, Chris, and Clive, and Gabe are on the with Clint Hill. Oh, I can't say that.
Oh, you've ruined it.
I can't swear.
Gabe, cut that out.
Okay, brilliant. But hers and back of the neck stuff, that interview. Anyone that doesn't get anything out of that interview, you shouldn't listen to radio or podcast. That was brilliant. That was just super. What a man.
You
What
just
an
think-
absolute
you just-
legend.
You just hope, and the way the club has moved and has been talking of late, it should happen. You just hope that you've got to keep people like that around, because what it'll do, when you've got sort of 13, 14, 15, 16-year-olds coming up through the junior setup, they're not all going to be QPR fans. We're going to be picking them from here, there, and everywhere. They're going to be Liverpool fans. They're going to be Chelsea fans. However much you hate it, they're going to be Man United fans. Whatever. They're not going to be QPR fans. But having people like that around, when teenagers are being teenagers, having people like that around, it's just
he's been through so much.
This respect this club.
Yeah,
and he has got so much respect for QPR, having come as a complete outsider on a 1-year contract with a dodgy ankle that sort of meant that he was never going to go beyond that 1 year. He was brought in for 1 year by Neil Warnock. That's 5 years ago. We've had 2 promotions. He's done 3 years in the Premier League. He keeps playing left back, even though 4 years ago he said, I can't play left back anymore. You get the guy's an absolute hero. You can't say a word against him. It was amazing to hear him, actually.
He will never leave the club, ever. Because he's the sort of person, this club, Nick, as you just said it better than I did, actually, but he would hold a room brilliantly with youngsters, because his experience at Wembley the first time, I had issues, I thought about quitting, but you know what, I stuck with it.
And like what he said about when he was at Wembley, and you probably will get a lot of people with similar sort of characters at that age, and he can obviously guide them on the experiences that he's had, not only just about the club and how important it is, but also just kind of like knowing how to deal with those sort of players. There must be a role for him at the club like that.
No, they will do. They can't. They won't, because they'd be mad. Because people like him don't come along very often in football, and that's a fact.
No, you need people like that, both in your first team, but also at your club afterwards. The weird thing is, he was here for one of our famous nights on the other team, which a lot of people forget. The playoff semi-final against Oldham. He was playing.
Of course.
He was playing for Oldham.
Him and Fitz.
Him and Fitz Hall. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. I was going to ask him, but we obviously went off on different tangents and whatever. But.
Typical.
Well, we're getting back. We're getting back.
Yeah. do you know what? Though I forgot. But I was so focused on giving abuse to Andrews out there, I forgot he was playing. That's terrible.
Whatever became of Wayne Andrews? Not much.
Apparently, he was a QPR fan.
As a legend in his own lunchtime.
No, we've really. I mean, we're coming to the end of the show, and I know Mr. Fraser will be watching this with his egg timer on his commute, because apparently we're just for a commute show.
Should we just carry? I think we just carry on.
Just carry on, ignore him. He'll phone me tomorrow. I'll pretend I'm shopping or something. Sunday, we've got to talk about it. Clive.
Not there. I'm
not
there.
Clive, sorry.
I'm not there. I'm not there. It's my one of the year that I'm always away with work, and it's Chelsea at home. And a couple of I had my Villa ticket last night, but I hadn't booked a train or anything. I wasn't going to go. After the Everton thing, I really thought we'd beat Everton. I still fancied us to get those 5 wins. I thought Everton would be one of them, and we lost to Everton. And I lost a little bit of faith and whatever. Was going to Birmingham for the weekend anyway, so went to the West Brom game, which we haven't gone into in a lot of detail. But what a first half at West Brom! What a first half! What a fantastic performance!
Ridiculously brilliant.
And again, we talked about Tim Sherwood earlier potentially being our manager, but a lot of people wanted Tony Pulis. And again, Ramsey completely outdid him in the first half, and Pulis' response to that was to put 3 of the biggest blokes he could find and lump the ball up to them for the second half. So, be careful what you wish for, kids, I think. But wasn't going to go to Villa, but after Saturday, booked my train tickets and went up there. And I really wish I was there on Sunday, because I fancy us as well. And it's the hope that kills you, isn't it? But I really, if we can not concede early, if the atmosphere,
that's so important. Yeah,
don't concede early. If the atmosphere's up, and I'm really disappointed it's not Saturday at 5:30, because I think it would have been properly raucous then.
Well, that's what it was when we beat them 1-0, wasn't it?
Exactly. It was 4 o'clock Sunday.
4 o'clock Sunday.
But the later it is, the better the atmosphere is. I really hope we don't
get drunk early.
Yeah, everybody get to the pubs early.
Saturday night.
But as long as the atmosphere's up and we don't concede early, the longer we hang in the game, we've got a chance. It's just nice to see us having a go at games, I think. Having a go to win rather than just hanging in there because we're little old QPR and we're newly promoted and that's what you do.
As you well know, I'm quite a sad soul in many ways. But I was watching a YouTube clip of when...
You what?
YouTube, sorry. I don't know what I said there.
Come on, we've all had a drink.
My verbal dyslexia, we've all had a drink, calm down. And when they came back the first time, that was in their face, wasn't it? I mean, that got them from the coach. That really did. And I'm not suggesting anyone does anything like that, but you really should. And just make it hell. I mean, Clint said himself, we can create our own hell for them. They didn't like taking... The last time, they didn't like taking corners, they didn't take throw-ins, everything. Just get in their face legally and just really let them know that this is a derby. Because none of it talks about it as a proper derby. Even in the radio say it's a London derby. I mean, Jimmy Redknapp famously didn't even realise it was a West London derby.
Well, that
Just
says more about Jamie Redknapp than anything.
Don't throw anything at them. No coins.
Yeah,
No, of course not. No, that's stepping over the mark. Of course it is.
We're not inciting a riot here, Phil.
Absolutely not. Not with my accent. No, I would never suggest such a thing as it's a waste of money. And they don't need it, frankly.
The thing about that first game was the element of surprise. They genuinely didn't get it. I remember the match preview.
They got it afterwards.
I remember the match preview on the Chelsea official website, which I thought was one of the most unprofessional things I've ever read from an actual official website. Was talking about, well, we're sure that the QPR fans will, act up and whatever, but the Chelsea players are experienced European footballers who have played in some of the most intimidating venues in Europe, in some of the biggest matches in Europe, and will not be, thrown off their path by 15,000 QPR fans in what is essentially, quote, a battle between 2nd and 16th in the league. Well, they were, because they had 2 men sent off before half-time. We had that whole thing where Mata didn't want to come over and take the corner.
That was lovely.
And, without going over the line, because, we've seen that, I've seen that at Palace just lately, and, without going over the line, we have to make it a proper cauldron on Sunday.
Yeah.
Legally, of course.
Absolutely, yeah.
But you know what? That sums them bunch of shysters up, doesn't it?
Well, it was obviously written. It was obviously written by somebody who had no knowledge of Chelsea pre-2001, which is 95% of the people involved at Chelsea.
If Chelsea play how they did in the home game, I think we'll beat them.
Do you know what annoyed me is the time we played them in the FA Cup after many years, it's going back from there, the swamp, as I call it, and one of the kids to his dad goes, "Where is Queen's Park Rangers anyway, father?" It was one of them things, and he was like, "God, it's over. It's somewhere."
That FA Cup game was a massive anticlimax. Though, are we talking about the one we lost 1-0 at home after we did? Because the element of surprise had gone. We need to really lay into them this week because they're so far ahead. They've shown recently they are quite complacent. They gave up points at home to Burnley and things like that. They're so far ahead. We might be able to catch them if we're really on our game and the whole crowd is behind us. We might be able to catch them.
They can afford to lose a game, and it would be better if the game was later. But it's the first game on Sunday. Man United and Man City are playing after them, so they won't have that boost of knowing that result and knowing what that kind of thing. So maybe that would play into our hands as well.
The thing is, what the club should do is, like when they show the game live and there's something happens and they can't show it live or whatever, they don't show a replay. Just show goals against Chelsea through the years, the 6-0. Just throw it in there every so often. Just throw like Kevin Gallen's header in or whatever. Just keep throwing goals in.
As a side tangent, last night at Villa, I don't know if you noticed the first Benteke goal, the equaliser.
Oh yeah,
which I haven't seen since, but looked suspiciously offside. And the linesman on our side ran the line all night like he'd been hit over the head before he went out there and wasn't quite sure where he was. Looked suspiciously offside. They put the replay up on the big screen of the goal, and as the ball was played, realised,
whoops,
he looks a bit offside. Cut the replay out and put sort of tweets of Villa fans up, and then re-entered the replay as he was scoring the goals. That's the only sight I've had it, but he looked offside at the time, and I think it was bloody.
It was a bit lucky as well because it deflected, didn't it?
I had a terrible experience. I'd like to thank the person that picked me off the floor as I fell over all the stairs in the way I try. I'm getting to the age now where you just
should have sent us a postcard.
You start getting embarrassed. I know. I was walking down, and this old fella, whatever, was going one way. Then he went the other way. So trying to avoid him, I then went on my arse. I went flying downstairs, and I was so embarrassed. It's one of them horrible moments where you just think, oh, and this young person was like, "Are you all right?" And I thought, oh God. Anyway. Great atmosphere. Our fan. So what got me last night with the Villa fans? They didn't give us a down below bit, and they're going empty seats and all this malarkey. And empty ground. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, there were enough empty seats in the main stand for them to be quickly
quite
silenced.
arrogant as well, aren't they? They're a bit of a
To be fair to Aston Villa fans, I always walk up to that ground. You know, you come from the station past the Holt End and you look at it and you think, how on earth is this club in this state? It's hard enough for us thinking, how on earth are we in this state? But you look at Villa.
No, we're QPR, we used to.
You know, with the history they've got and the trophies they've won in the past and whatever, you must walk up. It's
a brilliant stadium.
It's one of my favourite stadiums. I mean, I hate the new grounds anyway, so it's always going to be one of my favourite stadiums. But the support they get is actually pretty good. Although the pillocks off to the right of the away end, they could. We could do without that.
Just needed Damien Stewart this time around. Scored a winner.
Right, we've come to the R's end of the show, and who wants to go first? Mr. Mendes, Clive?
I'll go for 3 quick ones.
Hello.
Steady.
It's a family show, come on.
Negative. Bit disappointed with what happened with the tickets last night. I felt the club got caught on the hop a little bit, as nobody could have expected us to go to West Brom, win 4-1.
No.
However, it is the box office's job to anticipate that the ridiculous may happen, and suddenly lots of people might want to go to Aston Villa. So I thought to put out a message that the tickets were all off sale, but they would be on sale on the night. And then at no notice at all, put them on sale on Tuesday morning. And then people that rang up and ended up with Ticketmaster were told there are no tickets left, but there will be tickets on sale on the night. So lots of people, including my brother, set off to Birmingham to buy on the night, only to be told, oh, they're all sold out and not buy it. Without going on and on and on and on about it, it was a bit of a shambles.
I agree. And normally the box office are actually quite good.
The box office are absolutely brilliant, but they did make a mess of that. And therefore, thank you to Ian Gilson, who got in touch and gave my brother his spare ticket. He couldn't attend, so my brother went and picked his tickets up. So,
well done. Thank you, Ian.
Good.
On his brother's behalf, sorry.
Yes, well, but thank you to QPR fans. You put that appeal out and we're a good bunch, really.
We're splendid.
Second positive interview will maybe be played on the podcast at a future note with Darnell Furlong and maybe Reece Grego-Cox as well. But went and did interviews with the youth players last week, and what a seriously lovely, nice bunch of kids, and really intelligent as well. Spoke really well and represented our club brilliantly. So thank you to QPR for setting it up, and just congratulations to the kids for being that brilliant. I heard a story about Darnell Furlong while I was there about the tournament that we won in New York when we beat Inter Milan and Liverpool and things like that. They told a story about
As you do.
As we, as QPR are prone to do. They told a story about Darnell Furlong in the dinner before the tournament when all the teams were there. Each captain had to stand up and give a speech, and apparently not only did Furlong stand up and give the QPR speech, he then insisted that the team went round all the other teams there, like the Liverpool, Inter Milan, and shook their hands and introduced themselves.
Flip a neck.
Before wiping the floor with them and coming home with the trophy. And
That's
if ever
classic.
there was an old head on young shoulders, I spent 20-25 minutes with Darnell Furlong last week, it is him. He's got a massive future at this club, in my opinion. Can't remember what my third point was. I'll pass.
No, before you go, can we stay up?
Oh, God, let's just stop with this. No, I said no after Everton, and now I'm yes again. But who knows? God,
See,
well, I said, we'll beat Everton, West Ham, Newcastle, and we might beat Leicester, and we might have to find an away win somewhere else. And we lost to Everton, and then found 4 points from 2 games. I didn't think we'd get. I don't know. I mean, I'm just idiot, aren't I?
I think another 9 points might do it.
really? Okay.
Take 5, stay up.
What's your R's end?
My R's end is...
Because that was supposed to be the question I asked you at the end, but you've answered
Fair
it anyway.
enough.
So
My R's end is just reserved to Matty Phillips, because I don't think we've spoken about him much, and I think he's been brilliant for us recently. He's got 7 assists in 2015, second only to Messi in Europe, and he's just been crucial. I think without him, we would be down already, and he should be in the Scotland squad.
Fantastic shout. He was second half last night. He was a massive part of it. He just had Richardson on toast all night. He got 2 assists and a goal last night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, what he seems to find a new belief in himself. where you know that when he's going to that byline, something's going to happen. And then he did one move last night where he cut in, and your man was just mugged on the floor, just lying there, and he just went absolutely superb display.
Similar sort of thing for our third goal we did. Yeah.
Isn't it wonderful when you play players in their correct position?
It is.
It's like some weird witchcraft.
Now, carry on.
That was my Oz end of the show. I think we've got a decent chance of staying up. Not more than 50%, but I think we can beat Newcastle at home, worst team in the league at the moment. We've got a chance of beating West Ham at home. And
West Ham seem to have the queue on the rack to me. They know that Allardyce is going at the end of the season. They know they've got nothing to play for. That's a big one.
They're on the plane. They're on the beach. They're away, aren't they? And
the other thing, the thing that I did notice in the away end last night isn't it just much more positive, even when things aren't going well? At half time, we were 2-1 down, and not playing well. Isn't it just much more positive in the away end now we're having a go at games? The change in manager, even if it doesn't keep us up, seems to have sort of brought the club and the players and the fans and everything back together. There isn't that aggression and horror. I mean, I don't know where you were like what your experience is, but both on Saturday and last night, everybody just seems to be happy that we're having a go.
The two games I would go back to would be Stoke and last night. You can put the difference, and chalk and cheese, really.
Yeah,
absolutely. But I think that's because you see effort. People always blame supporters, don't they? We always get the blame. Clubs will always say, "Oh, it's the fans, the this or that, the other, blah blah." We're trying. We know that, but all we ask is a wee bit of effort, and I think we've got brilliant fans. Our fans always get. Some people on Twitter enjoy hammering our own fans, which I find ridiculous. I think our fans are class. We don't demand much. We just want a wee bit of effort. And we've had that in abundance the last two games. And before I do my hours I'll do my hours in the show. Remy. The elephant.
He's going to start.
The elephant in the room that no one really talks about. I don't believe that. I mean, I hate Redknapp for saying what he said, because I think he didn't see him going and he planned the whole. That's absolute rubbish. He didn't. Of course, he didn't. He's playing for them, but I don't think he was really ever part of us.
I barely even see Remy as a former QPR. But I often forget that he played it, and he played actually the season we got relegated. He played very well and scored some excellent goals.
He did.
He
was just insignificant, really, wasn't he? He didn't.
He was brought in to score the goals to keep us up. He scored as many goals as he could, barring two penalty misses. One penalty miss at Fulham, we didn't stay up, and he left. And I don't see it any more than that, really. I mean, Redknapp. I think that whole, if he was going to go, he would have told us, because he's a lovely fella, a terrific fella and all of that. I just think that was Redknapp getting his ducks in a line. If he needs to make an excuse about why we're not scoring goals, he'll just say, well, we thought Remy was going to stay. Like at the start of the previous season in the Championship, for a few months he was talking about, well, I wanted to sign Gary Hooper. And, and then Austin started scoring and we forgot all about Gary Hooper. I just think that was him getting his ducks in a line. I mean, I just want all the Chelsea players to get a hard time at the weekend.
I think Tony Fernandes should invite Remy round for dinner Saturday, play some FIFA, slip some lactives in his drink.
Another game of FIFA.
To be honest, I think there's a bigger villain in their side that I will certainly be focusing my attention on, and Rennie's just he's a subplot in the whole thing, really, if you ask me. I think my focus is certainly going to be at the
racist.
Yes, that's the word.
It's the word you were desperately searching.
I was trying. It was definition, wasn't it, of racist? But yeah, the captain, leader, racist. They've got at the back, as they call him, and I hope he gets a lovely reception on Sunday. As we keep stressing, everything legal, but for God's sake, we have got to play our part on Sunday. Without us giving it to them and making it special and making it golden, we haven't got a hope. We've got to just give it to them, and God knows. We're due one result of the season, and I think Sunday's going to be it. And I tell you what, I'm so proud of our fans for the last two away games, West Brom and Aston Villa. If we can bring that to a home game, Loftus Road will be the best stadium ever. And that's where we're going to end the show. Thanks again for joining us, everyone. Please turn up Sunday and give them hell. That's all we ask. You Oz. Come on.
Yours.
QPR, Green Park Rangers are on the up and up. QPR, now we're heading for European Cup.
The QPR podcast is a West 12 Media and Burble Media production.